Testing one, two. Testing one, two. 1 second, y'all. Awesome. Morning, Felix. Man, I just had to come on here, man, and man, there's always something pissing me off, but hey, it's okay. And since this person wanted to take it upon himself to call somebody, he didn't call me that, but he wanted to call somebody a honeypot distraction and co controlled opposition. So anytime you say that and mention the name and post it, and you're getting 92 likes and reposts, 51 reposts and stuff like that, um, that's a big accusation to make. So I'm coming here just to rant about it and give my opinion about it, okay? And my opinion on the whole situation. Okay, but first of all, I want y'all to know um, that, and I'm gonna give some facts before I start breaking this down, and I'm gonna let some more people get in the chat. If you know me and you're in the chat, please say hi. That way I know how many I've got and how many perps there are and all that good stuff. And if you don't want feel like liking the live or commenting due to the algorithm, I understand that too. I know some people don't like some people think that if they hit like or they comment, they get put in this algorithm and all that. And maybe they do, I don't know, but I understand that too. Okay. I want y'all to remember something. Good morning, Rob. I want y'all to remember something. Threats to the system are not allowed into the system. There are no good guys fighting against the system from behind the scenes. Those with large followings gained by ways of exposing government corruption are trained federal assets propped up by the system and promoted by the algorithm, aka controlled opposition. The truth and freedom movements are limited hangouts and always have been since the beginning. Also, the information these people exposed was always intended to be exposed. I'm going to start out saying that. The information all these people exposed was always intended to be exposed. It's by design. Sure, you may get a whistleblower every now and then that'll come forward and give uh, really valid information, but what happens? They always end up getting sick. They can't follow up with it. They end up in a pine box. So, um, what you got to understand is if you're making good morning servant Sue, if you're making allegations and calling some and then promote wow, so here's what this says. Robert Duncan was the perfect honeypot. DARPA CIA asset they let run free, screaming voice to skull beams, no implants needed while the real hardware was already inside millions. No gag order, no prosecution, pure controlled opposition to keep victim chasing ghosts. But listen to what he goes in to say. And I'm fixing to prove all this wrong, okay? And 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 if you think Robert Duncan was controlled, that's your belief. But Robert Duncan gave a lot of good information. So for him to be putting this meme out here, so look, and then he says the real hero ripping the mask off, Jesse Beltran. He scanned tens of thousands of TI's gangster victims with internet OGT at RF spectrum and frequency. Every one single one lights up. Every single one does light up. Every single person in the world's going to light up. Chemtrails made that possible. The food in the air made that possible. He's not going to tell you that. You know the difference is every single person in the world will light up to one of them scans. Every single person will. But not every single person's targeted, blacklisted, had their life destroyed, being stalked at every corner, having street theater ran on them every time they turn around, having their devices hacked. Some of them are not activated, but they'll show up, they'll light up, but they're not activated yet. I don't know if y'all agree with me or not, but you don't have to. Everybody he scans will light up. Everybody in the world. It's been made possible. The biodigital convergence is fixing to be here. They're fixing to use 6G to harvest energy from our bodies. So how's that possible? Everybody's got to be hooked up, but everybody is not targeted in the sense, my definition of a target individual is life is destroyed. They're hated. They're blacklisted. Anytime they go in a store, notifications are sent out. Finances are stripped. Now, some targets are able to keep finances. It's rare, but it happens. I know some. But what I'm saying is, just because everyone lights up, don't mean everyone's targeted. Will they be targeted in the future? Yeah, when the plan goes down. Yeah, but so this dude is putting Duncan down, and he's propping up Jesse Beltran. Well, let me tell you one thing. If you want to get scanned, I'm not hating on Jesse Bell. Go get scanned. Go prove you got something in you. I'm not going because I know everybody's got something in them, and I know everybody's not targeted. If somebody showed me a scan, I want them to tell me about a little about the story, tell me what happened to them, and I want to see if they're really targeted. Because just because you got scanned and got something in you that everybody's got in them due to chemtrails, food, air, smart dust, everything's being sprayed. They're connecting everybody to this hive mind system that they're fixing to roll out. And just because he's scanning people and all that, don't mean he's going to do a damn thing to take down the system. And for him to and if you go to back to Mind Nexus, if you go back to his damn, I can't believe if I was Mind Nexus, I would put a bridge on this dude's mouth because Mind Nexus uh propped up Duncan, supported Duncan, talked good about Duncan. So whatever this dude is trying to get all this business for Mind Nexus. Um, you know, and throw Duncan under the bus, I'm gonna give you some facts about Duncan. First of all, Project Soul Catcher number one, part one, you'll never find it. You know why? He got threatened to be arrested for the Espionage Act if he ever released that book. So you'll never find Project Soul Catcher one. Okay, now let's go to another thing. Hold on, I'm trying to see. Okay, Project Soul Catcher two. To release that book, he had to label it as sci-fi and fantasy. So he had to write a book with real information in it, label it sci-fi fantasy. Okay, um, that's two facts about him right there. So people's like, well, why was he allowed to run around? Because the information needed to be exposed, and they wanted the information exposed, but he could only talk about certain stuff at them points in time. And why? Why was the information need to be exposed so the public could get used to hearing all this technology stuff, so we could get baited into accepting AI because a lot of Duncan's talks were about the good of technology. And if you don't believe me, I can share a link. And if anybody would like a link about where he's sharing all this good stuff with technology, that's why he was invited to universities to speak because he was talking about how good these technologies were. But he also covered the dark side. So then, when I pointed this out to this guy says, well, he never talked about nanoparticles or nanodust. Huh. And that was the point you were trying to prove because he did talk about it. And I'm going to play it real quick. So before you go talking about Duncan is controlled opposition, and Duncan wasn't real, and now Jesse Beltran's the savior, and I mean that's just poppycock. Sure is, my opinion. I think Jesse's done a lot in confirming target individuals, help them confirm they got stuff in them. But what he's not telling everybody is everybody's got this stuff in them. Everybody's stuff is not activated like a target individual's is activated, but everybody will show up on a scan. Everybody's going to show up on a scan. Everybody will light up. And now that I said that, he'll probably have a few that don't light up. But I don't care. If I was Jesse Beltran supported Duncan, and when he was building his platform to go on the road and do all these scans and make all this money, he was talking so good about Duncan. And I can prove that if y'all really want to. I mean, I really don't want to have to waste the time to load these screenshots and the drive and all that, but I can prove it. But he needed to do that to build his following and all that. And I'm not talking bad about the man. He's helped people realize that some major stuff. So did Duncan. So if I was him, I would put this little boy that's putting him on a pedestal. I would put him in his place and tell him to get that off the internet. Uh, and Duncan was very careful about what he said because he was listen.
Brain actually naturally has many of those particles in them. There were many scientists were arguing what is the actual mechanism of the radio microwave hearing effect.
I don't listen.
And they finally concluded that it's actually the U.S. Air Force and modulating them. I'm going to not talk about just yet. I got to see if I have time. The audio cortex hacking and subsystems of the brain. I developed some models of my own in the last few months just to demonstrate how you can create an encrypted signal
Hold on.
from Nevada. I don't know if their research is still top secret or wasn't and now is, but the U.S. Air Force consigned them to develop a dopamine dump for the uptake, the reuptake of ionic.
He's going to get there. Just give me 1 second. He's going to talk about nanotech and nanodust, which this dude claims he never talked about.
Ions such as sodium and potassium and calcium. Let me just move on quickly so I can get through this presentation. The MIT created genetically blue light mice. Well, we've been splicing genes for a long time, and this is just a new idea as civilian scientists. Very good for research. Harvard has their rainbow mice, I believe they call them. And it's great for research, but of course, there's always the weaponized version, which we can use a cold virus, viral infection to all of humanity, and make them susceptible to whatever frequency we want their brains to be susceptible to. There are other technologies, neural dust, which is so small you can inhale it. It can be ingested. And these are just really small microchips that help amplify neural signals and various.
So what did he say? I thought he didn't talk about microchips. So here's the thing. So this dude tells the timeline backwards. He says for all these years they've been putting these things in people and these actual chips and to go to Jesse and get them found. Well, here's the thing. They came up with ways to do this without chips. And then they found out, hey, we got nanotech that can amplify the signal and we can spray this everywhere and infect everybody. And not only that, it's more accurate. So to say that mind control is not possible, even Jesse, the one he's putting on a pedestal as the savior of the world, which people are going to find out different. Um, uh, but I hope he does. I hope he does. I hope something happens and a miracle happens. And I'm not saying he's scamming nobody. No, he's showing people they got stuff in them that he already knows everybody's got in them, though. That's what I'm saying. So, but to say that this can't work without anything in you, it's poppycock. They figured it out. Here's what happened. It happened backwards, but you wouldn't think it happened backwards because of technology. They figured this out that all they have to have is your neural signature or your DNA, and they can target you and send frequencies and manipulate that. However, what they found is with this nanotech and smart dust, once they get at that in you, it's more accurate. They're doing training, research, and development with it. They're still learning with it, but even he's just said it amplifies it. It makes it more accurate. So now they are using it. So it's kind of backwards. Who's scamming people? Hard target. Jesse or Duncan? Or maybe he's gone. Okay, so anyway, I just hate seeing these people going out here and destroying people's names because Whether people want to, oh, he was talking about Jesse. Um, Whether people want to believe it or not, Duncan's books have helped a lot of people figure out what's going on. I know I was going through hard times, wondering how these psyops was, wondering how they were making me walk this straight line, thinking I was going to blow up if I stepped out of the line right beside an interstate. And I'm walking this line. There's this blue line, this gold line in this grass, and they made me do this. And I'm in my mind, it's a script they put in my mind. I was wondering how all that worked. And I was, and they did all kinds of science. So when I went to these books and it explained it, it made me realize I'm not crazy. But everybody has this. Everybody's going to light up on them scans, so it don't matter. Everybody's not targeted though. Everybody's not stalked, hacked, got their ever move tracked. In the background, people trying to destroy their lives. So, um, you know, I'm just saying it just pisses me off when somebody makes a bold statement like he was like Dr. Duncan was controlled opposition. No, Dr. Duncan said what was always meant to be exposed to bring in this AI and acceptance of singularity. Because if I'm gonna put this up in, I'm gonna put this in the live. This is a link to this video, and this will show you his purpose of being called to these universities. Because people are like, oh, he wasn't silenced. Well, where's Project Soul Catcher 1? He got silenced for that. He wasn't allowed to release it. It was the physics of how all this stuff works and a bunch of other stuff. He got threatened with the Espionage Act if he released it. And if he was controlled opposition, why wouldn't they let him release the book Project Soul Catcher as a nonfiction book? Why is it a sci-fi fantasy book? Because he had to do that to get it out there because they wouldn't publish it as a nonfiction book. So I hope I'm helping people understand. Truth or KY111. My email is hollyspunk@gmail.com. Oh yeah, I see you, Dave. Morning DMC. But the basic fact of the matter is this dude is really saying everybody go to Jesse, everybody go to Jesse, while down in Robert Duncan, somebody that Jesse praised when he was building his platform. I don't think that's right. So um, that's a bold saying, and he's got a meme. The meme says Havana Syndrome psyop exposed, honeypot distraction controlled opposition. Dr. Robert Duncan. Uh, Microchips are the real cause of Havana syndrome. Not external weapon governments chipping their own citizens. Semiconductor confirmed. W-band activated. Havana AHI exposed. Duncan was the distraction. Beltran just proved the truth. Well, Beltran's praising Duncan in many videos, and if you can, all you got to do is go to X and type in Mind Nexus talks about Duncan. So ain't that a little contradiction there? Basically, an oxymoron, if you ask me. Um, so I think he's the psyop. Whoever's pushing this is the psyop, and I don't care what he thinks about me. I don't have no respect for somebody who comes out just to support somebody that they support. And sure, it's all good. He supports him, but it does no good to drag somebody through the mud when you have no proof that he was the psyop. You can't show no proof. You didn't even know Project Soul Catcher 1 existed. You haven't even read Duncan's books, but you're going to speak on it. And I just proved Duncan did talk about neurodust and microchips. And that's what he's trying to say Duncan hid. No, he didn't. So yeah, hard target. I'm fired up. I wouldn't be surprised. And I don't get on here and just I don't blast people's names like that. But man, that just made me upset. I think everybody doing these scans knows everybody's going to light up. What do you think the chemtrails for years have been for? We're going in a digital age, an AI age, where everybody's going to be hooked up as a node and neck fill, and have been since '95, actually. Everybody, biofield, all that stuff, it's all showing up and communicating with frequencies. And so if you know that, you can take advantage of that by telling people, hey, let's give your. So just because I light up on there and have stuff in me don't mean it's been activated yet or I'm a targeted individual. Because the real targeted individuals blacklisted, hacked. Not everyone experiences some of the weapon stuff, but stalked, psychological operations run on them, profiled from the beginning. Notifications sent out to every business they go in, wherever they go, tracked, money, street theater skits. They basically run psyops on you in the first stage, and the decisions you may make out of fear based on them psyops destroys yourself. If they're successful in that stage, they really don't have to use weapons on you. But the ones who outdo that stage and still going, that's when they start activating weapons and testing it. And then some people are just test subject for weapons. And then some people went through the GATE program and are very, very intelligent. So they want to use these weapons to see if the GATE people can defeat these weapons with their mind and still have a normal life. There's many different reasons people are targeted, but just because somebody lights up on that scan, don't mean they're targeted yet. Sure, there's a future when everybody's going to be hooked to 6G for energy and they're going to be harvesting our energy through it. How do you think they're going to do that? That's why everybody's letting this stuff, they've been spraying it silently. So, and it's in the food. Dr. Jack Cruz, if you look him up, he'll talk about that, how the target individual program started. Look up Dr. Jack Cruz, neurosurgeon, talks about targeted individual programming. It's in YouTube. Um, but I mean, that's a bold statement to say about Duncan and run his name through the mud. I mean, you could have promoted Jesse without running somebody's name through the mud falsely and saying he's a honeypot distraction. You sure wasn't saying that when he was here. You were kissing his ass. I guarantee it. Guarantee it. You was kissing his ass, asking questions. If you were a real victim, you wasn't putting him on blast. Truther, KY, yeah, Springfield, Missouri. And just to let you know what I'm talking about, and you're going to know what I'm talking about. Springfield, Missouri, right across from, all right, you got the bus station. You make a left walking down that road out of the bus station. You got this Tennessee, I mean, not, you got the state troopers building. And it's a big building, and right across from it's a lot, and these Prime Incorporated trucks are sitting in this lot. And then if you go the other way, that's where all the hotels are. The Hampton Inn, I got V2K'd in. But anyway, the state trooper, that like, there's a sidewalk right here. There used to be a Waffle House that's not there no more. Am I telling the truth or KY? A Waffle House is not right there, right up the road from the bus station. The Waffle House is not there no more. But listen, because I went to show Holly what Waffle House because I went in there and they done some stuff to me, and I went to show her the Waffle House and it wasn't there no more. But anyway, on Google Maps. But anyway, so a weird thing when I was in front of that state troopers building on Springfield, Missouri. So you make a left out of the Greyhound bus station and keep walking up that road. You're eventually there's going to be a state troopers thing on the thing. Oh man, I'm gonna have to take a break. I'm getting a call. I apologize. And I will be back to finish this up. So I'll be back in about 20 minutes.